ABC News.
As our world changes, we'll keep you up to date. News Talk KVNU, 102 FM, 610 AM. Also on the new KVNU mobile app.
KVNU News Time is 5:05. I'm Bill Walter with this news update brought to you by Whole Tree Care. The Utah Department of Health's week-ending COVID report today includes 120 new coronavirus cases, while the daily total 2 months ago was 11,601. There were 6 more deaths in Utah since yesterday. In Utah, there have now been 926,442 positive cases since the start of the pandemic and 4,561 deaths, 236 in northern Utah. In the last 28 days, people who are unvaccinated are at 5.1 times greater risk of dying from COVID-19, 2.1 times greater risk of being hospitalized, and 1.9 times greater risk of testing positive for COVID-19 than vaccinated people. As of today, there are 156 Utahns in hospital with COVID-19, the same as on Thursday, and there are 26 patients in intensive care, which is 3 fewer than on Thursday. There have been 33,793 COVID hospitalizations in Utah over the last 2 years. More than 1.99 million Utahns are fully vaccinated, 61.4% of the population. KVNU News Time is 5:06. KVNU weather for tonight. Partly cloudy skies, overnight low in the low 30s, and then partly sunny tomorrow, upper 50s. Rain showers likely by Saturday night, and then rain showers and snow showers Sunday morning, becoming a snow shower event on Sunday afternoon, and cooler air moves in. 53 has been our high. It's 51 right now at KVNU. KVNU weather brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. When you need other work done on your car, they can recommend a dozen Napa Auto Care Centers with ASE certified technicians. 5 locations from Preston to Providence.
Is it too early to bring up yard work? What? Okay, but this is different. I'm talking about tree pruning. I know we haven't escaped winter yet, but right now is the best time to prune your trees. And the only thing you have to do is call Whole Tree Care, 760-6587. Right now they're offering an exclusive radio discount, so be sure to ask for it when you call, 760-6587. Get ahead of the spring rush. Get your trees and shrubs trimmed by Whole Tree Care, 760-6587.
KVNU News Time is 5:08. A 23-year-old Preston man was arrested after leading police on a chase near Park City early this morning. According to a press release from the Summit County Sheriff's Office, Anthony Ortega fled from officers through Kimball Junction and Jeremy Ranch after police received a 911 call around 2:25 a.m. about a package stolen off a resident's front porch. Police said Ortega was identified by the resident who saw him on a porch camera. The sheriff's office said a deputy tried to pull Ortega over after running the plates and found out the car, a 2013 Lexus sedan he was driving, was reported stolen by the Murray Police Department. Ortega refused to stop, and the deputy chased Ortega onto I-80 eastbound, where Ortega exited onto Kimball Junction, pulled a U-turn, and got back onto I-80 headed westbound. Deputies deployed spike strips on the interstate, which shredded the tires. Ortega exited on Jeremy Ranch. Sheriff's office said Ortega then parked the car and got out and ran. Deputies tracked Ortega through a neighborhood using dogs and found him in the utility closet of a family's home, where he had entered through an unlocked back door while people were asleep inside. Ortega was booked into the Summit County Jail and faces several felony charges and 14 arrest warrants. And legislation eliminating drop boxes and similar drop-off locations for absentee ballots in Idaho will not get a hearing in the Senate and is dead. Republican Senator Patty Ann Lodge said today she's received thousands of emails opposing the legislation. She chairs the Senate State Affairs Committee, where the bill was sent after making it through the House on a 37-33 vote earlier this month. Lodge said that she has heard from those with disabilities, the elderly, and people with children who cannot wait in line and want to continue to use ballot drop boxes. Backers of the bill said drop boxes are susceptible to theft and arson. KVNU News Time is 5:10. For more details on these and other stories, visit CacheValleyDaily.com.
News Talk KVNU.
My name is Dr. Brandon Preby, and I love being a dentist. I work with Drs. Curtis Taylor, Anthony Larson, and Paul Harris. When people ask where our office is, I actually have two answers. First, I spend part of the week at Logan Dental Associates, and then second, I spend the other part at Cherry Creek Dental in Richmond. Both locations are a full-service dental office and can take care of everyone in the family. Call or go online and make your appointment with the office that's most convenient for you. Logan Dental Associates in Logan or Cherry Creek Dental in Richmond.
You already know H&R Block does taxes, but you may not know you can get expert help in person or virtually, or that our tax pros average 10 years of experience. You can even request the same tax pro every year, and your biggest possible refund is always guaranteed. At H&R Block, help is here. All tax situations are different. Not everyone gets a refund. Limitations apply. See hrblock.com/guarantee.
Make your appointment with H&R Block in Logan by calling 752-1651. That's 752-1651, or download the H&R Block app. Proud to be locally owned and operated. H&R Block in Logan.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived in Philadelphia. Local time is 3:05 p.m. and the temperature is 67 degrees. At this time, you are now free to use your cellular devices.
You know that feeling when you get to turn your phone on after the plane lands? You can have that feeling every time you drive. Make sure your cell phone is stowed away whenever you are behind the wheel.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Technology can make our lives more fun, but when tech is used for cyberbullying, children's lives can be damaged. Peter and Amanda Como found good communication protects their kids.
I would suggest go to jw.org. The resources there are just practical.
Their 16-year-old son picked up tips to help if he was bullied.
Oh, you could use humor. You could just not listen. It'll dissolve the situation.
To find more tips and tools to protect your child from cyberbullying, look to stopbullying.gov or search bullying on jw.org.
And we're live here outside the Perez family home, just waiting for the... And there they go, almost on time this morning. Mom is coming out the front door strong with a double-arm kid carry. Looks like Dad has the bags. Daughter is bringing up the rear. Oh, but the diaper bag wasn't closed. Diapers and toys are everywhere. Ooh, but Mom has just nailed the perfect car seat buckle for the toddler. And now the eldest daughter, who looks to be about 9 or 10, has secured herself in the booster seat. Dad zips the bag closed, and they're off. But looks like Mom doesn't realize her coffee cup is still on the roof of the car. And there it goes. Oh, that's a shame. That mug was a fam favorite.
Don't sweat the small stuff. Just nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Learn more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I saw Wedding Crashers accidentally. I bought a ticket for Grizzly Man and went into the wrong theater. After an hour, I figured I was in the wrong theater, but I kept waiting. That's the thing about bear attacks. They come when you least expect it.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. It's Friday. It's 5 o'clock. It's time for the For the People movie show. And we do have some new movies in theaters to talk about, although I'll be honest, the openings, big openings that you maybe want to put your eyeballs towards and do some reading about and maybe even watch are on the streaming services. In theaters this week here in Logan, 2 new movies. One called The Outfit, and one called, I don't know if it's X or 10, but it's a horror movie. That part I do know. And it is, and I just want to tell everybody, Andy almost fell in the studio there. Are you all right? You gonna be okay over there?
I'm good.
Is it X or 10? This horror movie that's in Logan this weekend. I think it's
X.
I think it's X. Okay.
Yeah, and just so everyone's aware,
I don't know if it was.
There's a lot of A24 fans out there. They're going to be like, and these are probably the people that are going to go. But just so you're clear, this is the premise of this is a adult film shoot. On what appears to be. I don't think this is part of the plot, but it looks like they went back to the old set from Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
The trailer looks very Texas Chainsaw Massacre ripoff-ish.
I'm interested to see because A24 horror movies
usually pretty good.
Well, and they've kind of become the cream of the crop. But so my question is, remember Focus Features? How that was the thing?
Yeah.
And then they kind of out-focus featured themselves.
Yeah, it got silly.
They were like, "Hey, you looking for some serious independent cinema? We've got it." And then everyone was like, "Yeah, no, you
That's
no."
what you call experimental.
I think A24's kind of got that because you had this, had Hereditary, and then they had
they did have a pretty long string of good horror movies,
and it's not even just
not like Blumhouse, but
right.
Blumhouse has never had a.
Well, they had Hereditary and Midsommar, right? Those are the big ones. But then, if you think about it, there was other movies inside that window too, like Uncut Gems, and I said, everyone's like, "What? I don't get it." If you're on TikTok, you got it.
Yeah,
Uncut Gems.
Uncut Gems.
Did I say it right?
That's how they say it.
I was Josh Safdie's muse with Uncut Gems. Has anyone talked to Josh Safdie? Paging Josh Safdie. Is this accurate? I remember when
TikTok's so entertaining.
I actually kind of got tired of that one. The other one I'm tired of right now is everyone somehow Ace Ventura has made a resurgence, and so you have all these people like doing the lip syncing to some of the lines, and where he does the long. That whole thing. Yeah. Here's a good thing, though. So
it's not a good thing they keep letting this Ty West guy make movies.
What did you not like before?
Everything. He did a horror movie called You're Next.
You're Next is actually that's not. What am I thinking of? What's the? Oh, I can't think of the other one.
You're thinking of the one where she goes
Ready or Not.
Is that the one?
Yeah, that's
with the bow and arrow.
Yeah.
They play the game.
Your
in the
Next
house. I really liked Ready or Not. That
it was a dark comedy horror movie, but it's still kind of.
It wasn't good.
No, I'm interested to see
All the Light in the Sky, which I actually haven't seen, and then he did Drinking Buddies, which I watched the first 5 minutes of, and then
I don't know if I've seen that.
Eject. Is that a word we still use? Do kids know what eject means anymore? Is that going to be a lost word?
You know how sometimes you develop a portrait in your mind after somebody says something? And this just shows the power of our minds. When you said eject, my mind in like 1.2 nanoseconds, I saw you flying a F-14 Tomcat with Tom Cruise.
And you instantly thought of Top Gun 2 and thought, when's that coming out?
And I thought you were Goose. And I felt bad when you hit your head on the canopy. I hope you're okay, Jason.
Come in unconscious.
Speaking of 1.2 nanoseconds and the power of the human mind, actually, this is a terrible segue. I'd like to ask you to buy my Preparity blend of essential oils at andysessentialoils.com. It's now I'm not doing a. That's not somebody out there's like, yeah, that's not funny, man. Some people like that.
Now?
They like that stuff. I that's how I beat coronavirus. Anyway, now somebody's like, "Oh, you're digging yourself a hole, buddy. Digging yourself a hole."
They got in trouble for that, though.
You got something.
They were told
movie
to
boy?
cease and desist that advertising.
Yeah, we do have 3 reviews today, and I want to set this up.
Oh, so it's not just we're just not going to be just talking about Ty West's X.
No.
Okay, no, because I was disappointed that was the only new movie opening.
We'll talk about that at a future point.
No, there's 2. There's another one called The Outfit.
Yeah.
Is that it in Logan? Yeah, it was.
Yep, The Outfit. That's in the same... It doesn't belong to the Kingsman franchise, but it is... feels like the same kind of vibe, like Guy Ritchie.
I'm disappointed with where they're going with those, because the first 2 Kingsman movies, they were onto something. And then they just...
I just didn't know we had a Kingsman universe.
There's the King's Man, and then there's this one, the outfit.
There's the King's Men too, and then they had the King's Men. There was the Ray Fiennes one. That was or
just recently, right?
Is it Fiennes or Fiennes?
I say Fiennes. I think it might actually pronounce.
I just call him Voldemort.
Fiennes. Yeah.
Anyway, no,
those are good TikToks too. I saw one just the other day where they broke off one of the little
tiny
bristles
icicle
from a hairbrush.
Oh,
and
that's
held
actually
it out.
funnier. I saw a guy pull an icicle off his truck, just a tiny one.
I saw
and
that
he pointed. No, the 3 movies we're going to talk about today.
Andy and I have a TikTok problem. If you listeners out there haven't, it's hilarious.
It is.
I don't trust people who make them.
No, and some of them you're just like
some of them are scamming.
How did you? Yeah, no, it's very. We're getting back to the very creative Vine days, but even like taking it a notch up.
Yeah,
there's another one that's going on. You've seen this one.
I
where
laughed out loud at your Bradley Cooper one. I literally doubled over and guffawed
when he rolls down the window in A Star Is Born. He goes, "Hey," and she turns around in the trailer in the movie, and she says. And he goes, I just wanted to take another look at you. So people are doing those two things, but what they put in
having it.
Yeah. But I've seen one where they take the top of a restroom stall. Have you seen this one?
I have seen that one.
And it looks like he's peeking over the restroom.
Bradley Cooper peeking over this.
I just I got to tip my hat to the TikTok folks. It's pretty hilarious.
Gen Z is creative. I think it's a combination of the pandemic, the weirdness of their times in general, but they've taken TikTok and they've kind of turned it into it's social satire, but not like heavy-handed. They're not lecturing you.
No,
but they're literally just sending up everything, but it's fairly good-natured.
I'm sure there's going to be
not like our generation. We were mean about it.
That's true. I think there's going to be a whole another generation of Food Network stars coming out of this too. I can tell you one thing I don't like is. You can show me a TikTok of how you make your brisket or how you make pasta and chop up all the ingredients, and there's a little ASMR vibe going on in there where I'm feeling comforted, and then you immediately ruin it as soon as you eat the food. That's like an ASMR killer.
You don't want to see that. No one wants to see that. Have you stumbled into not tying TikTok yet?
No.
That's a rabbit hole you don't want to. Oh, wow. I was taking notes. I'm like, oh, wow, that is a cool knot. You know what I could do with that? I learned a better way to hang a hammock is what I did.
I actually see a lot of home improvement. I
have a question for you about TikTok.
There's great stuff.
Why are we not seeing the traditional, traditional media crossover into? I mean, I've seen a few TikTok ads for TV shows or something like that, but we're not seeing like movie trailer type stuff. We're not seeing.
I don't.
Why have they not figured it out yet, or is it just they're not?
I don't
aware
know
of it yet. Does it not work?
I think they look. I think there's a common. So here's the thing: if a TikTok, unless it's something where I'm watching like a Karen or a Chad have an eruption at an airport,
those are pretty funny,
and I actually usually fast forward those. But people's attention span is about 30 seconds. And so I think what you're seeing from the movie studios is you're seeing alternative content. So you're not going to see trailers. You're not going to see movie clips generally. But you'll see more things like, hey, we asked Tom Holland a question at the Spider-Man premiere. Or, hey, look, it's Robert Pattinson. Things like that. That's what I've seen. That's kind of what I think you'll expect. I think there's other places for that. People don't go to TikTok to watch movie trailers and
I guess
30-second ads.
What I wanted to know is that just not a good medium to because I know Twitter had the same issue too. Like it just didn't work. Facebook is they're still spending a lot of money on advertising the straight up trailers on Facebook, but they scrapped it with Twitter. I know and. It's an interesting when you think about marketing a movie these days, especially if you're maybe doing a little, guerrilla marketing. Maybe you don't have a huge Paramount Pictures budget or something like that. It would be a little challenging right now because you can't manipulate these social media channels the way you could. Facebook's very easy to manipulate. In fact, you can pay to manipulate Facebook, and they'll ask you to if you're a business. But
it has to be organic.
But the rest of TikTok and the new version of Twitter and some Instagram, I guess you can pay to promote too. But even if you're paying to promote, you're not getting traction.
And you're not. And the thing people have to realize is when you're on, I would say on Facebook and Instagram, the only people I think you're shouting into the void there, because I think what people are those are where you have followers, especially Instagram. I think on Twitter, I think Twitter's a notch below that, because I think Twitter, you have the potential to be viral, right? Depending on what
you can't make it happen, but it's the potential's there,
and you
at
still
least.
have followers, but you can gain more followers by going viral. TikTok is the viral. Right, TikTok is where you share something and everybody,
it's
reshares
entirely viral.
But yeah, I don't. If I was a marketing executive for a movie studio or marketing over a certain movie
so you've got
picture,
a movie and
over a certain talkie.
Say you've got a horror movie and you want to target a younger demographic, 20 to 25-year-olds, to go see this horror movie, and you realize they're not watching network television.
Yeah.
How do you get them? How do you market your movie to them?
I would for sure be focusing all my efforts on really probably just three things: TikTok, Snapchat, and Instagram. And Snapchat and Instagram, I would probably make 10% of my 90, of 100.
But really, I guess my question is, what do you say to them? Because like you said,
this is the thing
you
have
to throw
to
a trailer.
No,
out there,
this is the kind of thing you have to
and
develop.
You can't fake it. You can't. Like on Instagram, you can buy an influencer.
Sure.
That's accepted in the Instagram world. But if you do that on TikTok, that person gets blocked by millions of people.
You have to start
send a
planning.
message.
You have to plan, and you have to...
It's just intriguing to me.
Yeah, an example for me would be the movie Dog with Channing Tatum that came out in February.
Yeah, which seems to be like all word-of-mouth advertising.
It is. And here's an example, is I got a kit from the studio, and inside the kit was a pillow.
A dog?
A dog pillow that said "I woof you," and it was, and the other side was Channing Tatum's face.
I want to be a.
And then,
well, that part's creepy.
They sent a big like camouflaged bone. They sent some dog soap. Oh, and then they sent this. Is what I thought was interesting. They sent me like a $20 Starbucks gift card so that I could take him to get pup cups. Right, and so to me, that's the kind of thing. Like those are the type of things I actually think you best. Because what you want to do, right, and I'm actually fighting against my own quote-unquote profession here, but if I was a studio, I would be like, look, critics are important, right? They're always going to be important, but
that's where it seems
they're
to me.
less important today than they were 25 years ago.
But I sort of feel like that's a missed opportunity, because that a critic on TikTok could get in.
Yeah, and what you don't see, people,
because you could have your own account and you could be
and people on TikTok. There are critics on TikTok. I'm talking more about, what I would rather do is I'd rather host a screening, for 200 people, and give out a bunch of swag, and then all those people are going to post, right?
They're going to go share.
Yeah,
this was so cool and.
Yeah, I would.
That makes sense.
It's funny how that's turned. I went to screenings, at the end, like the start of the 2010s, where they were like, "Put your phones away," things like that, and they still want you to do that, obviously,
during
especially
the movie, right?
Yeah. But now they're like encouraging people to. And they have hashtags, and they're encouraging you to spread the word. And
that's interesting.
To me, it would be a fascinating thing.
Yeah.
But speaking of,
it's just interesting how this has changed, how movie marketing has changed. Because I remember. Not that long ago, 10 years ago, I was just going to Hulu, and Hulu had that whole page of movie trailers.
Apple had the same thing, remember?
Yeah, Apple
trailers.apple.com.
And I would just watch them one after another, and now I've noticed those are all gone. It's harder to find. You can still find them, but
I go to Fandango on YouTube, and I watch all the trailers there. And back then, even in the late 90s, a trailer was an event. It used to not be an event.
It used to be trailers for trailers.
The internet made
social media.
The trailer an event.
Yeah.
Prior to that, and obviously this is a kind of a no-duh thing. One thing I used to think was the most exciting thing about going to the theater was sitting down at a movie you'd never, and then the trailer comes on, and all of a sudden you're like, whoa, they're making a Jurassic Park movie? That kind of stuff, you know? Unless you were reading industry magazines, you wouldn't know that stuff.
No.
And then my personal feeling is with the advent of Phantom Menace. We
had AOL keywords. Remember they'd create a keyword for a movie, and absolutely no one would notice.
Actually, I lied. It wasn't. No. Let me back up. The Super Bowl had big trailer spots. That was a big thing. That's become less of a thing now because one thing they release them beforehand. They're
Yeah.
like, see the big game spot, and you're like, why can't I just watch some of the big game and be excited?
It's on YouTube
already.
already.
But the Phantom Menace is what I think kicked off the modern, rush to the internet for spoilers, for trailers, whatever. And movie blogs, entire movie blogs were created and still thrive today from that event.
Well, and that was a masterclass because remember that first teaser? It was theaters only.
And you had to go to Apple.
Gray, foggy screen.
Yeah, it was like
and some animal noises, like a whippoorwill or something, And at the time we didn't know Jar Jar Binks. We didn't hate Jar Jar Binks yet.
Who's this floppy hair? Floppy-eared alien. Wow.
All you see is just this weird creature with someone riding it with floppy ears, and it's like 15 seconds long. You don't see anything really. It never comes out of the fog.
I remember some of the people's comments on
the
that.
The excitement over that was. I think that's all anyone talked about that whole summer.
Yeah, there's a scene where one of the shots is little tiny kid Annie, and somebody comes up behind him and puts his hands on his shoulders. And when you watch the movie later on, that's Qui-Gon Jinn putting his hands on Anakin's shoulders when he's meeting with Yoda and
stands behind him and
the 12 Jedis. But everyone was like, "Whose hands could those be?" I believe that might be the Emperor's hands.
Oh yeah, speculation.
He's adopted, and just that was the whole thing. Who is this guy with the red and black face? That's the demon that lives in my closet, And it was crazy.
Oh yeah.
I do want to talk about something. This is a good segue because one of the movies. I want to talk about 3 movies quick today. There was 2 we didn't get a chance to talk about last week that came out because we wanted to really focus on the Batman.
That was fun to spend a lot of time on.
It was
Batman. 3 weeks.
It was. Yeah. By the way, just as a quick update for everyone, in case you were wanting to know, Sam has now seen the Batman 4 times as of. Yeah. When he came home the other night, I said, "How was your 4th viewing?" He goes, "I think I'm okay now. I think I'm done for a while." It's a long movie, right? Anyway, but what I want to talk about is what's that thing? 2 truths and a lie.
Yeah,
I want to talk about 2 goods and some massive dud. I want to talk about Turning Red that is now streaming on Disney Plus.
Yeah,
this movie's drummed up some controversy.
The latest Pixar
for the dumbest reasons.
Some people are just looking to be upset. I've decided anyway.
When you mention maxi pads, I am out.
I'll leave.
And then I want to talk about the Adam Project on Netflix, which if you haven't watched, you're missing a very 80s feeling sci-fi gem that I think is kind of going under the radar. The other movie I want to talk about, I watched So You Don't Have To, and I expect a stream of thank you emails or thank you letters
for your sacrifice
because I haven't watched a movie in so long that made me hate everyone in the movie. And hate every minute of the movie. I was like, is this even real? Where do these people live?
Since Twilight.
Is this Florida? Is this New Orleans? I couldn't tell. I seriously, I was like, I hate you. I hate you. I hated their characters. I honestly don't know if I can even like the actors.
Wow.
Like I want to be like.
And this is a new movie?
Yeah. It's called Deep Water. It's on Hulu. And it is, might be the I don't even like. There's no words. I just want to dry heave.
I've never seen you this angry.
It's just to give everyone a little segue, tease it a little bit. In the late, like kind of mid '80s to early '90s, one of I wouldn't call it a trending genre, but there was every once in a while not Hollywood, like the actual town. But there was a lot of like what I would call sort of erotic thrillers would drop down. And I'm thinking of movies that people now know about, like Fatal Attraction.
Wild Things. Wasn't that one?
Basic Instinct. Movies like this that they were kind of steamy, but there was like a... Anyway, the last one that I think
like
kind of...
murder mysteries, but with some steamy...
Yeah, with some steaminess. The last one I think that came out that I would consider in this sort of period was Unfaithful. In 2002 with Diane Lane. And ironically, or not, this director, Adrian Lyne, he directed that. I believe he directed Fatal Attraction, and he directed 9.5 Weeks.
Oh, okay.
That was another one I forgot to mention. Anyway, He makes his return with this movie 20 years after he,
Deep
Water. And I'm telling you right now, I hated every single minute of that movie. It's first off, if someone's like, "Ooh, erotic thriller," he said Basic Instinct. No, it's not even remote. It's like it's laughable. It honestly would have been served better as a comedy.
Really?
If they had advertised it, it'd be like, "Hey, wacky new comedy from." It's got Ben Affleck. It's got.
So you can't even watch this ironically.
No, and let me give you a piece of
bad.
advice. If you like the movie Knives Out, and you really like the character in Knives Out, Ana de Armas, who plays the maid, right? The one that throws up when she tells a lie.
Yeah.
If you want her to forever be ruined in your mind, make sure to run home and watch Deepwater. Like, she's probably a really nice lady. By the end of the show, I was like, I don't not even know you, and I hate you.
Whew, you're not alone. The Wall Street Journal movie critic said, I just kind of wanted everyone to drown.
Yes.
That was his whole review. That's harsh.
I was like, and I kept thinking, what are all your jobs? They just have like parties all the time, and they're like these old, like 40, 50-something people. You know what I mean?
That's funny.
And I didn't like Ben Affleck. I was like, I don't like you. I don't like anybody.
I've never heard of half of these people.
Ana de Armas. Yeah, she was last seen in
Jacob L. Orty.
Yeah,
That sounds made
It doesn't
up.
even bother. Don't even bother reading.
Sounds like a made up name.
But if you want to like make a mental note and then hate those people later,
Finn Whitrock. These are not. They made up their names.
No, it's a terrible movie. Terrible. I
there's
don't know if
the
it's in
dud.
theaters. I hope it's not.
Do not see Deepwater. On the other side of the
Look, I don't even have to review it.
You have two that
F
people should see. F. I wanted everybody
Garbage.
to drown.
Such a awful. There's not enough words in the human language.
And he's angry. Good news is, on the other side, he's got two movies to talk about that you should see. And we'll get to those after these headlines with KVNU's Bill Walter.
Thank you, Jason. KVNU News brought to you by the Duck Hunter. Cache County Democrats have announced the schedule for their upcoming caucus and convention gatherings. New party chair Brian Gerena said that the Democratic County Caucus will be held at 6 p.m. on Tuesday, March 22nd in the Old Main Auditorium at USU. The Cache Democrat 2022 convention is scheduled for March 26th, the Saturday at 10 a.m., also in the Old Main Auditorium. The caucus is open and everyone's invited. Gerena said that the event will be an opportunity to learn how to become a party delegate. Anyone interested in getting Democrats elected should come. Those events will also be a chance for local Democrats to meet their new party leaders. On KBNU's monthly Speak to the Mayor program on Wednesday, Logan Mayor Holly Dane said progress continues along Main Street with demolitions and new construction going on, and she said it really showcases the spirit of investment that early settlers displayed.
Again, you think about our historic downtown and the beautiful pieces that we have, the historic buildings from the Tabernacle to the courthouse to the Eccles Theater. And, our pioneer forefathers invested in those so many years ago, and now it's our turn to, I feel like, do another round of investment to keep us going for another 100 years.
Road infrastructure with road improvements and possibly new traffic lights are important to keep up with growth. One thorn in the side of the city continues to be with the intersection of 1400 North and 600 West that also intersects with the railroad. In the recent session of the Utah legislature, a bill passed that will lay groundwork when it comes to state and city interests as they work with the Union Pacific Railroad. The mayor hopes it helps their situation.
We're hoping this may force some the railroad to be a little more reasonable. I mean, we actually are in litigation with the railroad over that particular intersection. I had to laugh because one of their senior vice presidents wrote an op-ed piece in the Salt Lake Tribune a couple of days ago, and it just how they were such a great thing for Utah and so good to the community. And I may write a rebuttal. It's like, wow, you are the most difficult entity to deal with in the state.
Dane said there are projects that they get approval on from Union Pacific, but then they change the terms partway through. Two voting rights groups sued the state of Utah on Thursday, seeking to block new redistricting maps they say unfairly solidify one-party GOP control and ignore a voter-approved independent commission. The League of Women Voters and Mormon Women for Ethical Government say the Republican-controlled legislature swept aside the commission's work and further carved up Democratic-leaning Salt Lake County to dilute its voting power. Utah Governor Spencer Cox declined to comment directly on the lawsuit, but clarified he believes the maps were not illegal gerrymandering. KBNU Weather brought to you by Adams Wealth Advisors. They put clients first under any circumstance. You will receive peace of mind with Adams Wealth Advisors. Schedule a time with an advisor today. Call 752-1702 or visit adamswealthadvisors.com. Becoming mostly cloudy later tonight, low in the upper 20s, and then partly sunny on Saturday, mid-50s for the high. Chance of rain Saturday evening, rain likely after midnight. Rain and snow showers Sunday morning, chance of snow showers in the afternoon, high around 40 on Sunday. It's been to 53. It's 52 right now. You can always get more news at CashValleyDaily.com.
John at the Duck Hunter asks, have you ever checked the dryer vent cover on the outside of your home? It could be broken, full of lint, or worse yet, you could have an unwanted guest living in it. John suggests you check your dryer vent today. And if you can't, call John at the Duck Hunter. He'll do a visual inspection, and if needed, run a camera through the dryer vent line to see what's going on in there. For a free consultation, call the Duck Hunter, 770-4813.
We are the Duck Hunter. Breathe better, save money, protect your home. We are the Duck Hunter.
Do you want to learn to ski or snowboard or know someone who does? Come join the Learn to Turn first-time beginner class at Beaver Mountain. $80 gets you a 2-hour group lesson, your ski and snowboard rental, and a Little Beaver lift ticket for the day. Learn to Turn is for ages 6 and up for skiing or snowboarding and is offered daily at 10 a.m. Or you can try Learn to Turn 1, 2, 3, commit and complete 3 Learn to Turn packages in one season for $220 and get a Little Beaver season pass for the rest of the season. Come on up and ski the Beav.
When looking for your next pre-owned vehicle, look to the name that Utah has trusted for their automotive needs for over 95 years. For generations, Murdoch Automotive has given Utah pre-owned car, truck, and SUV buyers a comfortable, no-pressure buying experience. At Murdoch, we've got the largest used vehicle inventory in the state with over 1,000 used vehicles to choose from. When you walk through our doors, you feel like family. At Murdoch Hyundai in Logan or online at MurdochHyundaiLogan.com.
Call 866-628-2065 or see dealer for complete details. Offer expires 3/31/22.
It's time to vote for the Best of Northern Utah, presented by Campbell's Snacks, home of Pepperidge Farm.
Best of Northern Utah.
This is the contest every business hopes to win. So vote now and let your voice be heard. You can vote once per day, every day through March 30th at thebestofnorthernutah.com.
Best of Northern Utah.
Reward your favorite businesses in and around Cache Valley. Vote now in the 2022 Best of Northern Utah contest, presented by Campbell's Snacks, home of Pepperidge Farm.
Best of Northern Utah.
Ah, that's better. Trade in the stresses of building a new home for relaxation. Visionary Homes Priority is giving you a stress-free building experience. Named the best home builder in northern Utah, Visionary Homes team will guide you seamlessly through the home building process. Call today, 435-228-4702, or visit visionaryhomes.com to learn more about upcoming communities in Nibley, Logan, and Smithfield. Visionary Homes, built for living, built for you.
Ingers he home, diddy hoo, gada sedu, yeber spear horn, der skirten, bort, bort, bort.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People movie show with Andy Morgan of Andy at the Movies here in the studio. We'll be talking about The Adam Project on Netflix. I've already forgotten the other one you said you were going to talk about.
We're going to talk about Turning Red. We should probably talk about that one first.
Oh, Turning Red, the new Pixar.
I'm actually just looking at my bracket.
Are we going to talk about... I'll save this. I have
some sad things.
You know those... We've done those shows before where we talk about our guilty pleasures as far as things that we'll watch that we'd probably make fun of others for doing so. Just really quick, I was with some family members and the TV was on, and you know when something's happening in the background, but then it catches your attention for a second, and then all of a sudden you realize you're watching.
Yeah.
Like you're invested at this point. Renee Zellweger in what's
what about something about Pam or something like that? It's
I
on
forgot
Peacock.
the name. Yeah, this is network television. I think it's What's the Deal with Pam?
Yeah, she's really. I don't know if she's wearing.
It's a
it's a suit, right?
The Thing About Pam. That's what it's called. It's called The Thing About Pam.
It's a sequel to The Office.
It is a true story, Dateline style or FBI Files style investigation show, which I used to really like those. I don't watch them that much anymore, but I've kind of gone podcasts with those types of things. But I enjoy that. But it's dramatized. But I'm not talking about.
Oh, like they're doing with the Tiger King stuff.
Yeah, I'm not talking about dramatized like there are little clips of people acting out what the narrator's describing. They've still got the Dateline narrator. They got Chris, what's his face? He's still doing the voiceover. So it's the same voice you hear during those FBI Files and Dateline episodes, but it's an actual TV show, like fully dramatized.
Do you think they'll be doing more of those? Because of the popularity of murder podcasts?
This one, I honestly have to admit, this is it's compelling TV. It's obnoxious. I mean, there are parts where
they almost have to be like their wild stories, though, right?
This one, yeah, and this one's pretty wild.
Because I mean,
this one's out there.
They've always.
If I didn't know this was a true story, I would I would think that the writer was very imaginative.
That's it. We should have a whole show
I felt
dedicated
the same way
to
about
that.
the Tiger King.
Well, I was going to say,
if you didn't know that was a true story, you would never believe
the
it.
documentary was so popular. Now there's I think it's on either Paramount Plus or Peacock. There's a show with Kate McKinnon.
Yeah,
and it's a dramatized.
Which Kate McKinnon alone might get me to watch that.
Well, and
I
then
like her.
The other one that I kept thinking of was I've been thinking about movies. To your point, when you said that of similar things, and there was a movie that came out last year called Zola. Did you ever see that?
No,
And
actually, I remember that though.
It's based off someone's Twitter thread.
Yeah, I wanted to see
telling
that.
this story, and so I wonder if we're going to see more of that. If we're going to see more kind of social media based films.
Remember
or TV
Serial?
shows?
Serial. It was one of the big first true crime podcasts to really make a big hit.
Right.
I would actually watch a dramatization of that whole story. With people playing these people are still alive, so maybe it wouldn't be appropriate.
There was another scary. There was a guy that was doing he was tweeting like this haunting that was happening, and I was under the impression I'll have to go back and find what it is, but he had said that the studio had reached out to want to
turn it into a
yeah.
I mean, honestly, I was surprised. I didn't think something like this, because I'm probably one of the hardest to reach audiences on this type of thing. I don't like dramatizations of true events generally, because they have to make them more dramatic than they are. In this case, it's something where the true story itself is pretty dang dramatic.
Yeah.
And the people involved really were kind of over-the-top characters in real life.
Has to make it work. It has to be something crazier.
Yeah.
Like that. I don't know. Did you ever saw...
and that makes the Thing About Pam work.
Yeah. No,
but I don't know that you could recreate it, because Tiger King, Thing About Pam, there's a few stories out there, true stories, in which the people involved are so in real life over the top that they work as characters in a dramatic show. I don't know that you could do that with just any true crime story.
No.
Have it. I mean, because a lot of true crime is kind of slow.
We'll have to pay attention to that.
Anyway, sorry.
Forward. No, you're
I just
fine.
wanted to throw that out so people can check it out. It's on NBC, and I rarely have an opportunity to recommend network television. So
yeah, no,
I'll be honest
to
with you,
check it out.
I don't think there's a lot of good network television.
No, and you can always tell. There's always something.
Yeah, this is worth checking out.
So I want to talk really quick about Turning Red. Just give it a few minutes here. This is Pixar, Disney,
straight to Disney Plus.
Disney
right?
Plus,
no
yeah,
theaters.
And it's set around like the early 2000s in Toronto. Follows this girl that's on the cusp of puberty, right? And it's her.
I hate that's
her four friends.
Those are the oldies.
Or
now.
her three friends. I know, right?
I hate the early 2000s.
The early 2000s.
Now backdating
20 years ago.
A lot.
And they're obsessed with this boy band. They want to go to the concert. They don't have money to do it. Their parents think the boy band is, a bunch of heathens, as we all were in the early 2000s. And the main character, her mom is super, overbearing, I guess is the word. And you come to find out why some of this is later, right? Spoiler alert. You've seen this in the trailer. She turns into this big fluffy red panda.
Yeah.
it's a great movie. It really is. The animation's fantastic. The acting's great.
It's Pixar, right?
It's touching. You know, it may not appeal for everybody just because it does carry some emotional weight. I would say if you're a mom with a preteen daughter, it'll probably be that movie might carry some more weight with you than it does with other people. But I thought it was great. I thought it was really great. And controversy broke out for a couple reasons.
I do not get this.
First, there was a reviewer for Cinema Blend, which is a trash website anyway. And he's like one of the editors in chief, and he used some derogatory language, because the movie is the cast is primarily Asian, right, in the Toronto area. And the director and writer of this is a very personal story to her. She's Asian, and he basically said, "Yeah, this movie's not for me," and that's okay. I don't mind that. But the way he phrased it really came across as that he was saying like, I don't really get movies about other cultures and other races, that type of thing. And and then he used the word, and I won't say what the exact phrase he said just because I don't know if it's super appropriate for radio, but he basically made it. He just said this movie was one of Pixar's more flirtatious movies. He used another word, but it almost made it seem super inappropriate. He obviously apologized. I think he was trying to be funny, and it just came off wrong. I don't think
because
guy's
it's
like
not right. I mean, this
racist.
is G-rated Pixar.
Yeah, it's PG, I believe, and this is what bothers me. So then you have this whole other group of parents that are like, I can't believe. First off, this is just Disney trying to turn your kids against you again, right? And the things they bring up are like, they talk about periods, and they talk about maxi pads, and all the girls are rebellious, and they twerk. And I thought, do parents remember what they were when they were kids? Every group is like this. Every kid
seems like we forget because you're a lot of parents shocked at what their kids are doing, and I always want to say, do you remember? I mean, I went to school with you.
But then I'll take a step back and say, you know what else too? You're the parent, so be the parent. Stop complaining about the movie. And if your kid wants to see it, go see it. It's streaming. Watch it before your kid wants to, or just do some homework, right? Or maybe this is an opportunity to talk about things that we don't talk about. You know what I mean? Sure. I mean, I just drives me nuts.
Maybe it's more of illuminating a problem than creating one.
No,
if it's controversial that these types of things,
I just can't believe we're talking about this with a PG movie.
Yeah,
and again, for any parents that are listening and might take issue or umbrage of what I'm saying,
it's controversial to have these
PG means
mentions in a movie.
Parental guidance. It doesn't mean free pass. It means that if your kids are going to watch this, your children, right? You should probably
guide.
You should, you should. There should be some parental guidance. You know what I mean?
That's why they call it that.
I hear complaints all the time. We talked about this a couple weeks ago about movie ratings, and my thing again is the movie ratings are not perfect. They never will be, but they are there to be as a guide to help you understand what to know before you go in.
Well, and like you've discussed with your own children, every kid's different.
It is.
There are things that kids can handle and other things they can't, and the ratings
might not
reflect that.
I will tell you right now, I let Sam in 2008, he was 6 or 7 years old when he watched The Dark Knight. And I thought about it, and I thought, no, it's okay, and he was okay. But I can tell you, this new Batman, I wouldn't probably let him watch it.
Yeah,
unless I could, you know what I mean. It's and not because of the content, right? Because of the themes, and it's scarier. And
some of the
Sam's, I probably err on the too liberal side. One time we were watching a horror movie just on TV. It wasn't even something that was, this was edited for television, and I don't remember what it was. I think it was The Haunting in Connecticut. And there's a boy that's a bedridden boy, and there's a scene in the movie where they pull out this box, and they're looking through it, and they're like, what are these? Are these dead moths? And they're like, oh, they're people's eyelids.
Yeah.
And Sam, for whatever reason, was walking through the TV room at that time, and he still can't. He's still
scarred for life.
It scarred him. He was like, wait, what? People's eyelids?
I had the same experience with a made-for-TV movie about scarecrows. I still can't I still can't
You're
do
not
scarecrow faces.
Yeah,
not a fun thing for me.
I gave Turning Red an A. I just, again, Pixar in my mind, they're just great. This feels like, I think we're going to be getting more animated movies like Turning Red and things like The Mitchells versus the Machines with this new young filmmaking talent coming up. But the story's going to be, I think, a little more personal, and maybe a little bit even more laser focused. Maybe they won't be for the broadest audience as possible, but they're meaningful films and stories that need to be told.
I thought it was good, and we'll have to save this for another show so you have time to talk about the Adam Project. But there's also some controversy again over Disney putting this straight to streaming.
Oh, you're talking about the Daredevil stuff?
Well, people are saying, so Pixar staffers at Disney are angry because they feel like Disney is kind of just putting Pixar on the back burner. Like, oh, great movie, nice job, guys, straight to Disney Plus. They're a little angry, it sounds like. Variety wrote about it. But we can talk about that next week. So we have some time for The Adam Project on Netflix. This is making a pretty big splash. We'll talk about it right after this.
It's Congressman Blake Moore here. Like many of you, I grew up next to the runways of Hill Air Force Base, with the familiar sounds of freedom flying overhead. Utah's defense industry has doubled since 2015, making up 10% of our state's GDP and supporting over 200,000 jobs. As Utah's only representative on the Armed Services Committee, my number one priority has been meeting the needs of Hill Air Force Base. That means fighting for the F-35 program, nuclear modernization, and a locality pay that covers Utahns' living expenses. I want to thank our uniformed personnel and their families, as well as the tens of thousands of Utahns working to support our national defense. Your service helps America fly, fight, and win, and I will continue to advocate for your priorities in Congress. To learn more about how we've delivered for Utah's defense community, visit my website at blakemore.house.gov. Paid for by official funds authorized by the U.S. House of Representatives.
It's cold outside, but you can keep warm inside with a quality-built, super-efficient York furnace. Count on a furnace from York because it's backed by the strongest warranties available. It's just another way we install confidence. Call Advanced Heating and Air Conditioning, your local York dealer, at 752-7272. Online at advancedheating-ac.com. York, install confidence.
We're not comfortable until you are. Advanced Heating and Air.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People movie show. We talked about Turning Red, which has hit Disney Plus this week, and people are liking it. Some controversy around that, but it's kind of manufactured controversy. People are getting too uptight.
A little bit.
So the other big opener, also not in theaters, but on Netflix, was the Adam Project.
I wish this actually was in theaters. This would be a great summer movie, a quiet summer movie. It has a lot of that old 80s, like Last Starfighter, sort of E.T. kind of vibes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's Ryan Reynolds. It's a time travel show. I don't know the boy, the 12-year-old boy that's in the movie. I've never seen him before, so I'm going to assume he's kind of a new face. But I honestly, I think they might have gone back in time and pulled out 12-year-old Ryan Reynolds and brought him to the future.
That's what this is about, right?
Yeah, it's also got excuse me, Mark Ruffalo and Jennifer Garner, and then it's got Zoe Saldana. Yeah, and I won't give too much of the plot away, but it's basically it's a time travel movie, not in your traditional sense. Basically imagine your 40-year-old self going back in time after all you know to meet with your 12-year-old self, and then also they have that 12-year-old help you kind of save the world, and that's it. I enjoyed it. There was a lot of tender-hearted moments. They had some great action. It's again, it's not gonna win an Oscar, but I thought it was really, really enjoyable. And I know it's trending on Netflix. So if you're looking for what I would say kind of a decent sort of family film to watch over the weekend with your crew, or not, if you just want to watch it by yourself, that works too. It's all good.
It's interesting. This is that kid's first movie. Walker Scobell is his name.
Walker's. Have you? Okay.
He has not been in anything else ever before.
You should see. There's a TikTok of him doing the opening of Deadpool 2. Not for.
Okay, that sounds
it's
funny.
censored, but
that sounds funny.
It's pretty good. Anyway,
all right. Next week, what's coming?
We're going to talk Oscars next week.
Ooh. Oh, it is that time
because that's next Sunday. Not this Sunday. Next Sunday.
Have you got your picks ready already?
Sure.
It's going to be another weird Oscar season, but it's what they do. All right, Oscars and anything else hitting theaters, which is not much for a couple of weeks, but summer movie season is just around the corner, so plenty to discuss.